Language interpreter tonight is Yula Nzale. Now, heads of government agencies that sanction court cases against other agencies will be forced to foot the cost of litigation. President William Ruto said disputes between agencies in his administration will be resolved using alternative mechanisms to avoid use of taxpayers' resources that would otherwise be deployed to fund development projects and provision of services to citizens. At the same time, the president pledged improved working relations between the national and county governments amid perennial late disbursement of devolved resources. And as Francis Gashuri reports from Nanyuki, Cabinet secretaries will from March appear in Parliament to respond to questions ostensibly to enhance oversight and accountability of the Ruto administration.
The last day of the cabinet retreat, leadership of the two chambers of the 13th Parliament and Executive Committee of the Council of Governors joining cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries in Nanyuki, with the litany of court cases pitting government agencies over jurisdiction and functional disputes. President William Ruto sought to call his troops to order.
Any government agency that decides to take another government agency to court, whoever are responsible for the court matters, they will pay using their own money. I will not accept government resources to be used to pay lawyers for one government agency to take another government agency to court. It will not happen.
Similar friction often witnessed between the two chambers of Parliament, leading to a litany of court cases as each house claims supremacy over the other.
The sibling rivalry that has always been between the two houses and the consequent challenges that we've had with legislation and the workings of government at the two levels of government will be a thing of the past.
At the heart of the Council of Governors' conflict with the national government is delayed disbursement of resources allocated to the devolved units, almost crippling county operations and increasing pending bills burden.
That has been a problem across the board. And one of the resolutions of this retreat, which as governors we welcome, is the president is going to look at the release of funds which have been outstanding, especially for the month of October and November and December.
There is really no conflict between the national government and the county governments, and we're very clear on what the roles of the national governments are vis-a-vis what our roles are. At the center of the Constitution of Kenya is a devolved system of government. We will achieve faster development when the government at the county level and the national level work together to deliver as one.
Is that as a Senate, we shall be working on very strict timelines to ensure that the division of revenue and the division of revenue bill is passed timely at the Senate so that the government will be able to plan on how it will be disbursing the money to the counties.
We're going to have a retreat with our governors so that we can agree in the first summit and we can agree as the two levels of government on how we are going to support government programs, government projects, government initiatives at both the county and the national level.
At the end of last year, the president in his memorandum to the two speakers of Parliament proposed constitutional changes seeking to allow cabinet secretaries to appear before the National Assembly and Senate to respond to questions by lawmakers.
We have chairmen of committees who are not members of the executive attempting to answer questions in Parliament. It completely doesn't make sense. And they have no way of knowing what the executive is doing because they are not members of the executive. You know, they are members of the legislature. So when a member of Parliament, who is a chairman of a committee, stands before Parliament and tries to answer a question, it is ridiculous. It doesn't completely make sense. So I think we're just trying to correct some of the things that weren't quite orderly.
leadership of the two houses developing proposals on how the question time will be structured, with Wednesdays and Thursdays identified subject to parliamentary approval.
We should be able to adopt that report of the Committee of House Procedures and expect that the first batch of Cabinet Secretaries then shall appear and reply to questions either during the last week of February or the first week of March this year in the National Assembly.
Of course, there are three things that we feel is important for you to come and respond to. One, it has to be a matter of government policy. Two, a question of great national importance. Of course, we don't expect that when you come, a member will just shoot up and say, hey, my neighbor's cows are missing, your Minister for Internal Security, Kindiki, where are my cows? Or things like that. It has to be a matter of great national importance.
Oversight is our main role. Answering questions that relates to executive issues is not part of our mandate, and there is separation of responsibilities.
So I think it will enhance service delivery, and it will also put them more responsible with their tasks. And when someone is performing, they'll also understand they're going to account to Parliament and they're going to account to the people of Kenya. So I think it's very good utilization of the articles of constitution that are dealing with this level of accountability.
The proposed question time will be allocated at least 3 hours, with questions that are cross-cutting ministries being handled by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi. Curtains have been drawn on the Cabinet Retreat 2023 with a concurrence on a working relationship between the Executive, Parliament and the Council of Governors, with members of the 13th Parliament expected to resume sittings on 14th of February. One of their main assignments will be to approve proposals by the leadership of the House on how Cabinet Secretaries can appear before the two houses to respond to questions posed by members of Parliament in execution of their mandate as people's representative and the oversight role they play on the two levels of government. Francis Gashuri, Citizen TV,